Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IS Academy. In this lecture, we will be discussing about Nepal and who is Miss Sushila Karki, who is a potential next leader of Nepal. So we'll see what is actually happening or has happened in Nepal, and in the current scenario, why Miss Sushila Karki's name is coming up, who is she and what connections does she hold with India. So let's get started with respect to the changes that are happening presently in Nepal. So Nepal has basically toppled their government. Now this is coming because of the Gen Z protest that has recently unfolded, became violent. The parliament was literally burnt and the government toppled. The prime minister basically resigned and the people were, the ministers, the ministry was airlifted. That was the kind of situation that had initiated in Nepal. So the Gen Z who protested against the then incumbent government have now picked Miss Miss Sushila Karki as their interim leader. So yes, they are not picking her as the leader for the foreseeable future, but the interim leader. Now what is interim leadership? Now presently there is no government as such in Nepal, so if you want to restore or keep intact the democracy, you need to conduct elections again. But then who will conduct election? For that an interim government is needed, and to lead that interim government is what Sushila Karki has been selected for. Now basically, if you understand how this all happened, so there were days of deadly Gen Z led protest which toppled the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and his government. Now why did this particular protest even happen? It happened because there was anger in the Gen Z with respect to the corruption, with respect to restrictions on the fundamental speech, the fundamental rights, and basically a sweeping social media ban that was imposed by the then government in Nepal. Now we need to understand that social media acts as a safety valve in the sense that when the people are angry, they have vent up anger inside them, they need channel to vent that anger out, and social media is one such platform. Now if you ban that as well, the anger is going to accumulate and burst out. That does not justify any violence, but what happened in Nepal became violent as well. Now because of this, the army was deployed to maintain security, peace, and to calm down the situation. At the same time, in this situation, there needs to be a presence of the interim government, because presently with respect to the government, a vacuum has been created and the Gen Z is pushing to form the interim government, and they have selected her as the leader. So who is she and what connection does she hold with India is what we are going to further see. Before that, an important announcement with respect to the new batches that are starting at Legacy IS Academy with a maximum batch size of only 40 students. These are the respective dates for regular as well as weekend batches. There are various advantages if you enroll with us. Some of them are mentioned here. For example, one-on-one mentorship will be provided, subject specific, by the respective faculties, and of course there will be doubt solving, regular interactions with the educator. The batch size is quite small in order for us to have personal or hyper personalized attention on each and every aspirant. There will be daily mains answer writing practice, test series for both prelims and mains, and we have a 360-degree approach for current affairs coverage, wherein every single day there will be live classes for current affairs for the respective subjects by the expert faculties in order to cover your current affairs in a very comprehensive manner. So if you're willing to enroll with us, you can simply download our new app or log on to our website or call on the numbers that are given over here. Let's continue. Who is Miss Sushila Karki? Now she is the first, and not just the first, the only Chief Justice of Nepal, which she became in 2016. She is purported to be someone who is quite tough against corruption, in the sense that she has a great anti-corruption record. She has a history of jailing the sitting ministers as well. So basically, she does not hold back. No matter who you are, she punishes if you are not doing the right thing. That is the understanding that the Gen Z is having. Her rulings are considered to be progressive with respect to citizenship rights for women, anti-graft verdicts, so on and so forth. Now, anti-graft here means the verdict against the corruption that is happening in Nepal or has been happening in Nepal. So she is seen as an independent in the sense that not affiliated to any political party and is not dependent on any political party having any biases as such, as well as a credible voice for the Gen Z's values and principles that they want to enshrine. She is also considered to be the symbol of integrity. She has, as discussed, she has given a lot of landmark judgments as well. Now, how did they choose her to become their leader? So basically, the Gen Z had a virtual meeting, and in the virtual meeting, almost 60% of the people voted in favor of her. She outshone the Kathmandu mayor Balen Shah. Balen Shah came in second with 32%, but the highest vote went to her. So what is her linkage with India? She is linked to India with respect to her education. Yes, she has studied political science at the Banaras Hindu University. Yes, and she has of course the fond memories of the hostel life, the teachers, the friends that she made in India. Subsequent to her studying political science in India, she was also offered the chance to do PhD and to teach at the Banaras Hindu University. However, she declined in choice of in rather studying law in Nepal. So she then went on to study law in Nepal. Now, what are her views with respect to India and the relation that she has with India? So she calls all the Indians as her brothers and sisters. She has a great admiration for our honorable Prime Minister, and she acknowledges a strong tie of India and Nepal. So this is going to be very important and key for India as well, because Nepal every now and then, especially in the previous regime, had tried to play China card against India. So every time they have tried to do that, they have called India as acting as a big brother in the negative sense of being strict and imposing things onto Nepal. All those ideology has been there for the previous government, but she comes in with a completely different perspective and a very strong tie with India and the admiration from the Indian Prime Minister. So these things are going to be positive with India. Occasional frictions have definitely been there. It will be, because these are international relations, but on a majority or on a macro level, the ties she consider of India and Nepal to be strong. And not just this, she assured the safety of Indian citizens amidst this Nepal unrest. So she does have, you can say, a soft corner, or you can say the right thing basically to do, because India does not as such ask for some favors against something or biasness against someone else, or let's say illegality and stuff. We just want people to be just, and she comes off as a very just person, especially with respect to India. However, there are certain hurdles in her posting. There can be constitutional barriers, because former chief justices are barred from any executive posts as per Nepal's constitution's article 132. At the same time, there are past issues wherein in 2017 her impeachment motion was filed, though it did not become successful, but it was filed. There were accusations of being biased as well as executive interference, but nothing can be proved, and she still held her office. So here the issue would be of constitutional amendment versus people's mandate, meaning the constitution is not allowing her to become the leader of Nepal. However, the people's mandate is that she leads Nepal. So can people's mandate amend the constitution? Yes, that is of course possible, because constitution is what? It is nothing but the will of the people. So probably in this debate, the people's mandate might win and the constitution might get amended. But then there is no present government, we need interim government for that. So might as well happen that to amend the constitution, you have a government which is not led by her. So it remains to be seen how Nepal proceeds from here. She has highlighted India Nepal's historical cultural ties. She has, but this her appointment raises the debate of constitutional reform versus people's mandate. Now, even if the constitution is not allowing her, but she still becomes the leader, that might reshape Nepal's culture, political future, because it is going to require an amendment, and Nepal would have then started on a completely different trajectory. But since the people's mandate might be there, but anyway, it's not a mandate of the entire population of Nepal. Remember that here it is just the Gen Z that is involved. So that can be another critical point over here. In democracy, you want the majority to agree to it, and it needs to be universal franchise, not just a particular section of the society, which is Gen Z in this case. So the debate may continue over here, and the Gen Z which wants to bring in democracy might be here going against the democratic principles itself, because they are the only section of the society that is deciding who should be and shouldn't be the next leader. Thank you.